Hey guys, this is McDev, and we're back for another lesson on CSS. This one is about absolute and relative units. So let's go ahead and get started and see what they want us to accomplish, and then we'll learn more. They're asking us to add a padding property to the element with the class red box and set it to 1.5 EM. So most of that's familiar. Except where it gets a little different is this EM thing. Like, what's that? Well, let's find out. So, in the last several challenges, we set an element's margin or padding with pixels. Pixels are a type of length unit, which is what tells the browser how to size or space an item. In addition to pixels, px, CS has a number of different length options that you can use. The two main types of length units are absolute and relative. Absolute units tied to physical units of length. For example, IN and MM refer to inches and millimeters. Absolute length units approximate the actual measurement on a screen, but there are some differences depending on the screen's resolution. So that's absolute units. Relative units, such as EM or REM, are relative to another length value. For example, EM is based on the size of an element's font. If you use it to set the font size property itself, what happens, right? If it's relative to the font size, but then you use it to set the font size, well, then it just looks at the parent and makes it relative to the parent's font size. No, there are several relative unit options that are sized to the size of the viewport. That's like this whole view. They are covered in the responsive web design principles section. All right, so back to the task. We are adding a padding property to the element with the class of redbox and setting it to 1.5 EM. So the first thing we need to do for the solution is to find the redbox class, and it's sitting here right in front of us. Found it. And we're going to add padding. Okay. And we're going to say it needs to be 1.5 EM. Bam. And that added padding of 1.5 EM. Make that a little bit bigger because it looks kind of funky. Okay. So that's really all it is for this. This lesson is really just introducing us to these new ways of setting the width. All right, so we're going to run the tests. Ta-da, we have reached the end of this. All right, so it's not really part of this lesson, but as some bonus content, I'm just going to show a few other selectors. You could say 25 VW. That's 25 of the view width, and that's referring to the viewport. VH is 25% of the viewport height. We could also say 50%. And let's just see 10% for to be relative. Of course, we have 10 pixels. We have rem 10 rem, which is going to be huge. And this is just a random thing, but you can also calculate what the value will be. And you could say like, okay, I want it to be 100% of the view's width minus, let's just say 500 pixels. And it's going to calculate, that might be too high. It's going to calculate the number based off of these two values subtracted from each other. So anyways, that's the bonus content. I hope you found value in this, and I will see you on the next video. So later, guys.